Welcome, dear learners. The topic of today's lecture is an introduction to content and language integrated learning, or CLIL, popularly known as CLIL. As we know, a number of experiments have been carried in the field of second language teaching, especially in the field of teaching of English as a second language. It happens at different levels. At the level of an approach where we deal with the assumptions related to second language teaching and language, at the level of methods or transferring theory into practice, and at the level of techniques that are used in the classrooms.
Yes, sir.
Some experiments related to these are: one, communicative approaches, where the assumption is that a language should be learned through interaction. Two, teaching a language for some specific purposes, like that we see in English for occupational purposes or English for academic purposes. Three, immersion programs. This happen in subject classrooms, where we find a subject is taught in a foreign language, having the assumption that the learners automatically learn that language while learning that subject. 4, it's content based instructions. It happens in language classrooms, where the language teacher deals with some specific content like literature or some aspects related to some other subjects like how to prepare concrete, or some aspects related to environment. So, topics will be of the level that can be dealt by a language teacher in a language class, and the assumption is that learners learn language through that context. And here we find that CLIL is closely related to immersion programs and content based instructions. It is comparatively a new approach, and it is based on two basic concepts like content and language are inseparable. And the second one is that every teacher is a language teacher. The term content and language integrated learning was first introduced in 1994 by David Marsh, and it is defined as teaching subjects through a foreign language with dual focused aims of learning subject and simultaneous learning of a foreign language. And this brings together two often divergent components of content learning and language acquisition into a single classroom. So, naturally, there should be a collaboration between language teachers and subject teachers. If we have a comparison of second language teaching in language classrooms, immersion programs and CLIL, we can get a clear idea about what's happening in a CLIL context. To the question, who teaches? In second language classrooms, it's a language teacher. In immersion classrooms, it's a subject teacher. And in CLIL classroom, both content teachers and language teachers teach. And to the next question, what is taught in language classrooms? Language is taught, while in immersion programs the subject is taught, while in CLIL the CLIL language teacher teaches general language and supports subject teachers so that learners can be supported in learning subjects. By the CLIL subject teachers, we find that the subject is taught Along with that, some aspects of language are dealt in the classrooms. And what's the aim? In second language classrooms, the aim is to teach language. In immersion programs, the aim is to teach subject content. And in CLIL classrooms, for the CLIL language teacher, it's to teach language, and for the CLIL subject teacher, it's to teach content and some aspects of language. And who do they teach with? For this question, in language classrooms, the language teacher teaches alone, or he may have some collaboration with teachers of his or her department. And when you come to immersion programs, the subject teacher teaches alone, maybe with the help of subject teachers in the department. When it comes to CLIL, the teachers, both the language and the subject teachers, teach in a collaborative manner. And what is assessed? To this question, we find that in second language classrooms, it is a language which is assessed. In immersion programs, the subject is assessed. And in CLIL, the CLIL language teacher assesses the subject aspects, and the CLIL subject teacher assesses the subject as well as some aspects of language. And what is the basic assumption regarding teaching? We find that in second language classrooms, the basic idea is that language is learned in context. When it comes to immersion, the basic idea is that content is learned without explicit attention given to language. And when it comes to CLIL, the basic idea is that content and language cannot be separated. Whenever there is a discussion related to CLIL, the basic idea that comes to the mind is about the 4 C's related to CLIL. That's a design, a framework put forward by COIL known as the 4 C's framework. It comprises of 4 contextualized building blocks like content, which is the subject matter, communication, which is language learning and language using, cognition, which is related to learning and thinking process, and culture, which is related to developing intercultural understanding and global citizenship. All these 4 aspects integrate in specific contexts, and the primary difference between CLIL and other content based learning methodologies is that in CLIL there is a perfect integration of content and language. Coming to the first C, that's content, we find that it refers to individual subjects like maths, history, chemistry, or mechanical engineering. It shouldn't be exactly the same description as given in curriculum, but the teachers can adapt it so that it comes to the level of the learners. So for that, the teachers need to know about the need, the level of the students, and the requirements needed for learning a subject. And the teachers have the freedom to divide these aspects into bits, and it can be supported by additional materials if needed. And all these aspects facilitate interaction in classrooms, and content becomes a context for learning a second language. And in relation to content, new knowledge and skills are attained, and a person who becomes proficient in a particular subject will be able to communicate the subject aspects in a better manner, and they can take up tasks related to subject. Coming to the second C, that's communication. Communication is language using and learning, and there can be 2 aspects of language. That's the general use of language and the specific use of language related to content classrooms. As we know, language is our greatest learning tool, and it denotes the importance of language in learning. And language can be promoted only through interaction, and it's the functional use of language in subject classrooms and or in CLIL classrooms that promote language learning. Language is promoted through interaction, and activities in CLIL classrooms make it functional. So the interaction, activities in classroom and active involvement of learners help learners to develop their basic interpersonal communication skills. And in relation to subject, we find there is a development in the cognitive academic language proficiency. These two aspects have a great scope for improvement in CLIL. Related to three different aspects of language, COIL has put forward the language tips, which refers to language of learning, language for learning, and language through learning. The language of learning denotes the language needed to access concepts and skills of a subject. Language for learning denotes the language that supports learners to be functional in a foreign language environment. And language through learning is a language formed as a result of the process of learning. Coming to the third C, that's cognition. It denotes the thinking skills that the learners require when they learn a subject. And active learning, personalized learning, all these related to a learner-centered approach in classrooms makes learners to construct their own knowledge. Ample freedom is given to learners in CLIL classrooms so that there is scope for developing the higher order thinking skills in relation to subjects, which is often avoided in our classroom context. Coming to the fourth C, that's culture, it relates to knowing the other person and knowing other cultures. And these three C's integrate in local context, which I have already mentioned, and the teacher has the freedom to transact content that's in tune with the level of the learners, and this makes CLIL very flexible. And coming to the student, a student is the most important aspect in CLIL, where he can have a role in all the phases of learning, including preparation of materials, and even in the evaluation procedure students can be involved. And coming to the teacher aspect, in contrast to a teacher-led learning context, in CLIL we find that the teacher assumes the role of a facilitator who facilitates construction of knowledge in classrooms. He can do the role of scaffolding so that the learners are supported in the process of learning. And coming to the collaboration of subject and language teachers, that's essential in CLIL as it deals with both subject and language aspects. And collaboration happens at different levels. It can be collaboration during the preparation phase of materials. There can be team teaching in classrooms that can happen at one end, and the other extreme end, the language teacher can help the subject teacher outside the classrooms by giving information related to the language aspects required for learning. And another phase of collaboration can be the subject teacher deals with the subject aspects and some language aspects required for learning the subject. At the same time, the language teacher in the language classes can support development of general language along with helping the learners acquire the basic language required for subject learning. And coming to the CLIL design, as I have already mentioned, CLIL provides freedom in choosing the design that's required for the learners, but generally these phases can be followed in a CLIL classroom. Like the first one, it's the activating of their previous knowledge. the coming to the guiding understanding phase, where most of the learning takes place. It is here the learners learn the subject matter in personally, in pairs and in groups. And coming to the next phase of dealing with the different skills, there can be importance given to language, focus on language. Then there can be importance given to speaking. Then time can be given to improving writing, and then finally coming to assessment, review and feedback. Let me point out the basic aspects of CLIL. 1. Language needs to be learned in meaningful contexts. Here the subjects become the context for learning a second language. 2. Interaction in L2 is fundamental to learning, and in CLIL we find that the entire time is given for interaction. 3. The linguistic demands of the content have to be made accessible to the learner. It is the interaction part of learning, and with the help of the language teacher, the subject teacher can identify the specific language needs, and that can be provided to the learner. So, in acquiring new knowledge, new language and meaning are acquired. Next one, learning happens at a personal level. As this is a student-centered approach, we find that the learners themselves try to acquire knowledge related to their subject, and this happens at a personal level through interaction at various phases, and learners construct their own knowledge and they develop skills related to their subject. As I already mentioned, there is ample scope for developing higher order thinking skills, and active learning strategies are employed in CLIL classrooms, and there is peer collaboration. All these help learners develop their skills in language and their knowledge in their subject. And finally, the last one, it's about developing intercultural awareness. And the question of why CLIL points out the importance of CLIL in the learning context. The first one is it saves time because it can be employed without requiring extra time given for improving language. And the second one, it suits an average learner. It's not necessary that learners should have this kind of a particular basic language proficiency. Then it's seen that it motivates learners and it creates a hunger for learning in learners, and it develops the ways in which a person communicates, and they learn to speak and write. Then a lot of input is provided to the learners, and the needs and abilities of the learners are supported in CLIL, and learners make new personal meanings which is supported by the social constructivist theories, and it satisfies the local needs of the system as the materials are prepared according to the age linguistic competencies of the learners in relation to the curriculum requirements. And as there is real interaction in classrooms, the observation and problem solving skills of learners are developed so that it improves the life skills. Then to the question, how much CLIL is needed in a classroom? It doesn't mean that a CLIL methodology should be employed throughout the curriculum, throughout that a semester or year. Maybe 15 hours can be allotted for a subject in a semester, or half of the hours in a particular subject can be allotted for CLIL method of learning. Again, CLIL can be in the model of language led, giving more importance to language aspects, or it can even be subject led, giving more importance to the subject aspects. Next, let me tell about some CLIL experiments that's happening around the world, and it's social, cultural and economic aspects that related to globalization and integration that led to the requirement of developing new methodologies for learning language. And it's found that a lot of such experiments have been going on since 1960s in relation to subject and language, and that went through the 1980s with more theoretical basis. And when it comes to immersion programs in Canada and the bilingual programs and sheltered instruction in the US, all these can be considered to be precursors of CLIL methodology. And in all these methodologies, it's found that content provided a rich source for language acquisition. Some of these methods used content as an input for language development, while in some other methods like CLIL or immersion, it was found that content was directly involved in the learning. And coming to CLIL, CLIL in its present form was developed in 1996 in Finland in the University of Jyväskylä, and it was in a model of having roots in the local and having an international outlook. And now the term CLIL considered to be a generic term where content and language are both involved or integrated. And coming to the European Union, in 1995 they proclaimed that foreign languages play a key role in the integration of the European Union. And in 1995, a lot of teacher training programs and student exchange programs were started, and importance was given to acquiring at least 3 languages in the European Union. In 2001, the European Year of Languages, CLIL was identified as one of the innovative teaching approaches that can contribute to linguistic diversity. And in 2006, they went on to implementing CLIL in 30 states in Europe, and now it's implemented in 24 countries. And in the majority of the countries, CLIL was introduced in the primary level and the secondary level, and it was also used in the vocational education. And coming to Asia, CLIL is practiced in Japan and Hong Kong, and Taiwan is encouraging institutions of even higher learning to establish CLIL programs. The scope of learning, for instance, learning social studies in Hindi, science in English, can be experimented in CLIL classrooms. This will be a shift from the existing scenario of learning, but the already mentioned idea that all teachers are teachers of language, and again that's not an encroachment upon the definite and demarcated role of content and language teachers. On the other hand, it brings out the wonderful role of content and language teacher in a classroom. Will it be the death of a language teacher? No, it's not, because both the language teacher and the content teacher will develop new roles in the process of learning. Let me conclude. CLIL methodology, with its synthesis of content and communication, is based on the concept that these two are inseparable. The synergy due to that integration of subject and content leads to the success of CLIL, and it's seen as a methodology that fits into our current system, and it helps to accomplish the myriad demands related to learning within a short span of time. The affective factors which hinder learning are minimized in a CLIL classroom, and the aims related to learning subject and language are accomplished with the help of a learner autonomy. The teachers facilitate learning by scaffolding and providing meaningful input, which results in creative interaction and talk in classrooms. And CLIL also provides scope for intercultural awareness. Thank you.